I'm Ashton Addison from Blockwest Capital for Investment Pitch Media, and today on the Crypto Coin Show we have back with us Bobby Pham, CMO of KardiaChain. KardiaChain's been on the show a few times. Bobby hasn't been on. This is the first time for him coming on the show, and it's been over a year since the last time we spoke with KardiaChain. I know that there's tons of updates to cover, so welcome to the show, Bobby, and thank you for taking the time.
No, I appreciate it, Ashton. Thanks for working us back, and thank you for bringing me on.
You're very welcome. For those who haven't seen our first interview, and before we get into all the recent things that your team's been working on, let's just break it open with a high-level overview of what are the main solutions that KardiaChain is focused on, and what is the protocol all about?
Yeah, sure. So I think, as a recap, KardiaChain started off as, or I guess it still is, a layer 1 interoperable blockchain. We're based in based in Vietnam specifically, but yeah, we're based in Southeast Asia. Our mission is simple: Web3 mass adoption. That today still remains our mission. However, I think we've evolved a little bit more than just a blockchain, just an interoperable blockchain, right? I like to think of us as a blockchain ecosystem with, as you mentioned, a number of different products and solutions that help accelerate this mission. Some of the products and solutions we develop ourselves, many of which we partner with others to develop on top of KardiaChain. But yes, I like to kind of change. I think the biggest change or the biggest update is, I don't want people thinking of it as just a blockchain, but more so a blockchain ecosystem with a number of different products, which I'm sure we'll probably get into over the next couple of questions.
Definitely, and thanks for that intro, Bobby. And now, yeah, being an ecosystem, there's so many different subsections to dive into, with the apps and the protocol itself, and the kinds of apps and the industry use cases. And so maybe you can just sort of encapsulate that in what makes KardiaChain different as a protocol ecosystem, and standing out compared to some of these protocols that are, they're all trying to become layer 1s to host a network of applications on top of.
Yeah, so I think what makes what KardiaChain different is, these other protocols are, for the most part, I think they focus on branding themselves as a layer 1, as a blockchain protocol. Your Solanas, your AVAXs, your NEARs. Again, I like to always think, I try to tell everyone, hey guys, we're a blockchain ecosystem, right? And so that's the first thing is, consider us an ecosystem. Number 2 is, we originated in Vietnam. And in doing so, our presence in Southeast Asia is really popular. So I think this is a region that we're heavily invested in. If you ask most people within Southeast, there's not too many blockchains in Southeast Asia, I think, that has as strong of a brand presence as ours, with the exception of Zilliqa, which is pretty strong. They're based in Singapore. So in terms of what sets us apart, specifically, I like to tell people we are the leading blockchain ecosystem in Southeast Asia. So this is an area and region that we want to focus on, as Southeast Asia is a growing region for cryptocurrency adoption. Some of the major products that we've partnered with to build on our platform include a DEX. We have a DEX here. We have our version 3 launching coming soon. We have a super user-friendly wallet. I think people should definitely check out our wallet. But anyways, a custodial wallet to store all the crypto assets, that are traded within our ecosystem. We have an upcoming metaverse, which is going to represent our ecosystem as well as traditional businesses in Southeast Asia. And another thing that we're pretty proud of here is we're launching a new entity called Kaiso, which is going to be offering various different Web3 services, things like Hackathon as a service, AMA as a service, some of these other things that we see are major pain points or issues or needs within the crypto space. And we ourselves have been doing these for ourselves. We'd love to offer the projects that need help with this as well. So kind of a long-winded answer, but I hope that kind of covers a couple of points of what that question was asking.
Definitely, Bobby. Thanks for that. And it's great to hear about the different services that your team has already built out, and specifically talking about Southeast Asia. Myself actually did speak at some crypto conferences in Southeast Asia. It's been about 4 or 5 years now, but when I was there, it seemed very developer focused. A lot of training. I feel like there was even Google was very heavily present there as well, and it seemed like really good developers were coming out of Vietnam. I'm curious on, since then, what does the landscape look like in the blockchain ecosystem throughout Vietnam, and where's it headed?
Oh man, you're certainly right on that. I think many countries are kind of finally getting it's kind of been I guess a little bit of a gem, like Vietnam having so much having Vietnam housing a lot of tech and developer talent here, and a lot of companies we see here are certainly outsourcing, finding blockchain devs from within Vietnam. In terms of the landscape in Southeast Asia, I mean, yeah, it's blowing up, man. I mean, you have more than 600 crypto or blockchain companies are headquartered in Southeast Asia. Adoption rates are super high. I think adoption rates around 3.5% in 2021, or in Southeast Asia, about in Southeast Asia. But Vietnam, I think, ranks third globally in cryptocurrency adoption here. So I think in terms of your answer here, yeah, I think and not only in cryptocurrency adoption, but really in digital and tech adoption as well. If you the Vietnamese, I'm really proud of the Vietnamese government. They've made huge strides in taking advantage of knowing that they're famous for developer and tech talent here, and they're investing into. They've created a lot of different associations, not just the crypto associations, but other organizations to kind of further develop. Further establish Vietnam as a tech, as a tech empire, or what. I'm not sure. I'm losing a lot of words for it. But yeah, man, it's blowing up over here in Southeast Asia. It's almost like the Wild Wild West it is like the Wild Wild West, should I say.
The Wild Wild East. Yeah. Very, very cool to hear, Bobby.
My bad.
And you don't hear that as often, but it's great that Vietnam is making a name for themselves in that sector. And I'm curious if, just the tech talent is that one thing that's driving all of these crypto companies into Southeast Asia. I've also heard, favorable crypto regulations in the area, and you did mention the government there. Or is it associations, or is there something else that I'm missing?
Yes. From other blockchain companies, they wanted to try to create enterprise adoption. So they essentially wanted to approach work with enterprise and major corporations to offer blockchain as a service. Now, a lot of the challenges that were faced was, a lot of corporation and companies, they wanted to adopt it, but because of the lack of clarity with the crypto regulation, it was something that, they were a little hesitant about. And this is common everywhere. So that actually led our co-founders, both Huy and Tri, to work with the government to help lead the development of the VBA, which stands for the Vietnamese Blockchain, or the Vietnam Blockchain Association, right? As you know, lack of crypto regulation is a huge obstacle that stops governments, countries, and corporations from working with crypto companies. But the development of this association is literally the Vietnamese government's endorsement of saying, hey, we want to go into this space, but let's regulate this space, just create some clear regulation. I think, I think I think I might have gotten off the point. I think your question was why companies are what was the main question? What was the point? What's the question again? I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that, I'm what you mentioned there, the association is obviously going to attract more companies, and whether it was just the development or the regulations on why all these companies are moving towards Southeast Asia.
Yeah, so I think, to get back, so I think first, the huge talent pool of tech talent inside Vietnam, and then secondly, the support of both Vietnam and many other Southeast Asian countries in wanting to support and push crypto or blockchain adoption, or Web3 adoption, I guess. I like to use that word better, Web3 adoption. So yeah.
Okay, great. And building all these amazing products as they're in the works is great, but I'm curious if there's some end goal in sight, or if the government has some end goal in sight for actually bringing the quality of life and a better place for Vietnam and Southeast Asia, if it's going to actually help the people that live there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think first and foremost, what's really nice is I think the average Vietnamese teenager spends 4 hours on their phone a day, which is crazy here. But that shows that this is the generation. I mean, they're going to be completely comfortable using crypto, using blockchain, Web3 technology, and other digital, they're going to be comfortable in the Web3 space here. So I think that, to answer your question, because so much of the current the Vietnamese population are already comfortable with these digital or with cryptocurrency, we'll say, or Web3, we'll say, we will see an improvement in we will see improvement in the daily lives of the population here. I think that is what gives Southeast Asia an edge. Now that I'm talking about that point, is that much of Southeast Asia is still developing. They're still considered developing, third world developing countries. So a lot of the populations have trouble accessing traditional financial products like just a simple bank account or debit card. Even my mates to this day have been asking for a year and a half, hey, do you have a bank account? Just transfer money instead of having to find cash. She's like, no. Like, she's kind of like there's almost like some concern about it. I think that contributes to. So to answer your question, I think the government sees these products helping the daily lives, I guess, improving the daily lives of the population. And secondly, I think they also see it as an opportunity to kind of make their stamp in the global market here. Hey, this is our time to kind of rise here. Let's take advantage of it. In the West here, a lot of people already have their bank accounts or debit cards. So trying to transition them off of that is challenging. Yeah. Here, people have a fresh, Here, people have a fresh and open. They're ready for anything, and the government, I think, sees the many Southeast Asian countries see that as an opportunity to kind of get ahead in the global, I guess, the global landscape, the global rankings. I'm not sure however you want to describe that, but
it's really interesting to see how the nations that don't have this infrastructure, which now people in Web3 consider it as old, in the way, and really slow, they're able to sort of bunny hop over that and skip all these years of something that seemed good at first, but now that this new technology has emerged, it's easier to transition when you don't have to get off of the regulation of all of the other stuff that was slow before throughout the West. Yep. So it's so interesting to see how just all of Asia really is on this turning point of like, they could be overtaking the financial power of the U.S. and most of the GDP from the U.S. and like the #1 industry is the financial industry, which has been built out of this archaic technology for the last decades and decades. So the tides are turning quick, and Web3 is a huge part of that. So very interesting, and thank you for those insights, Bobby, on Vietnam and Southeast Asia. I want to jump back to KardiaChain and the development on the protocol and the apps that are being built. You mentioned the DEX, which is super interesting. There's been a lot of conversation around centralized versus decentralized and DeFi, which in the news recently there's been some of the CeFi providers have sort of gone under, and DeFi is still vulnerable to hacks as well. Could you talk a little bit more about the version 3 of the DEX, and also is there a growing DeFi and NFT scene in KardiaChain? Yeah,
the version 3 of the DEX is something that we're quite proud of. We've been spending like a lot of work on it for the past couple months. One thing that I've asked that we're trying to focus on here is initially we want to really. So if you think of, let me figure out how to describe this. Our goal is mass adoption. Right? We want to onboard people into the crypto space as easy as possible. So what we're seeing is we're running into a lot of developers, entrepreneurs that want to get into the blockchain space, but like, I have no idea. I don't know how to launch a token. I don't know how to create a blockchain. I don't know how to do any of this stuff, right? So seeing these pain points, this is why we offered a variety of products to address all these issues, starting with a blockchain. You know how to do it. You don't know how to deploy in a blockchain? Well, we have that for you, and it's quite easy to do that. Okay, so what about a token sale? Well, we have a DEX too. We can help you with that. All right. Well, how do we do that? We have services to help you launch on the DEX as well. We have services to help you facilitate this token launch, as well as to ensure that your token, is traded and follows all the regulations and the proper regulations and et cetera here. So, I guess to answer your question in terms of what's special about our DEX, what's special about our DEX is it kind of fits nicely into this like one-stop shop I guess, ecosystem of everything you need to come into the crypto space, right? You have the DEX, you have the blockchain, you have the DEX, you have a wallet, you have a metaverse, right? So you have, as a developer, your dApp has exposure in all these assets here, and then of course, finally, our Web3 services here, right, which complement that. As mentioned, AMA as a service, Hackathon, as a service, other marketing services, Web3 as well. So yeah, to kind of wrap up that point particularly, I think the DEX, what stands about the DEX is just kind of sits nicely in this ecosystem of products here to help onboard, developers, entrepreneurs, whomever wants to, raise a token sale or do a token raise or deploy their dApp in the Southeast Asia market, which is where most of our users are from. So yeah, sorry, long-winded answer. I need to work on those.
It's great to hear. And maybe you could elaborate more on KardiaChain's approach to DeFi and seeing the landscape right now and how some of these platforms weren't sustainable and what's that approach for your protocol?
Yeah, so our approach to DeFi, well, to be honest, I think the prior versions of the DEX didn't have much DeFi on it to say. And I think we had other dApps that had some DeFi products, traditional pools farms and staking, but they didn't do as good as a job as we thought they could have. So we decided to take it on ourselves through the DEX here. So I guess to answer, in our approach to DeFi, well, actually, this is, I guess, our first really check based on DeFi products here through our DEX here. You spoke to Lou, who was our CTO, I think, some time ago, who's like a freaking DeFi master. People like, this guy's like a really smart guy here. So having him lead the way for the DEX is really, I think something that is going to give us an edge here. The second thing here, I think you mentioned the NFT. Yeah, I forgot to get into the point about the NFT marketplaces. Yeah, we have actually quite a few NFT marketplaces here, and I think one of which is called Gumjoy. It's a Vietnamese NFT marketplace, but what they're trying to do is onboard a lot of traditional businesses, right? They're trying to make it very easy for traditional businesses to sell NFT assets on their marketplace here. And I think, as I'm talking out loud, I think that's one thing that stands out a little bit is we make it a point to try to work with a lot of traditional businesses and enterprises to try to bring them into the Web3 space here. So to answer your question in terms of the NFT and having a presence in, having an NFT marketplace, I guess, we do have that, and that is something that we are trying to develop here.
Thank you for touching on that. And I'd love to hear your insights and vision on more the long term, as all of these products, it already takes a long time to build all this out, but hopefully, the plan is for users to be using this years and years down the road. Do you have a vision as the CMO on what KardiaChain will look like as it continues to grow? And obviously, you need to keep up with the growth of like the blockchain ecosystem as a whole. But saying that, 5 years from now.
Yeah, what I really want to get in, what I see at KardiaChain, where I'm really trying to push us to get involved is it always comes back to our mission here, which is Web3 mass adoption, right? What can we do to, one, educate the community, educate the public about the benefits of Web3? And number two, what can we do to bring people to build in Web3 here, right? So the education aspect, as in trying to recruit students, educate students, educate developers, Web2 developers that want to come into Web3 here. So that's really where I'm trying to push us as an organization, and we have a lot of great ties with the local community, and particularly local schools here. We are looking to try to develop essentially, I guess you could say like a blockchain education program. You could say. So obviously, we hope that, and we expect that our products will be here, for the next 5 to 10 years, and people will be using them. But what I really want us to push is really make an impact here in Vietnam and the Southeast Asian communities. Is, hey, let's start training Web3. Let's get more Web3 developers out there. Let's get people building in Web3 so that we can try to continue to onboard more users into the crypto space here. So I guess to kind of, if I could wrap it up, in one word, education, right? I really want us to educate the community. I want us to, yeah, I guess maybe I should stop talking there before I continue ranting. But yeah, I think education is a good word to summarize that, in terms of where I see the future for KardiaChain.
Well said, Bobby. And for users in the East and the West that want to learn more about just the ecosystem of KardiaChain and people that might want to get involved or just take a look at it, and the communities, what is the best way for them to learn more?
Yeah, well, for sure, our Telegram chat, that's where we release like all our news there. So you can go to our Telegram, just Telegram/KardiaChain, followed by Twitter/KardiaChain, and then my Twitter account as well, the real B Pham. So any of these sources here, that's where we post all our news and updates. So yeah, great.
Great, thanks,
Check us out.
Bobby. I will leave those links in the description box as well to make it easy for the viewers. I appreciate your insights into Southeast Asia, blockchain ecosystem, and the KardiaChain ecosystem. All the best with your team, and let's follow up again in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashton.